Welcome back to the podcast, Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots. Today we don't have a music reaction. I was really debating between two different things. Between a music reaction and then doing something a little bit different. Well, I decided to do the latter. I was thinking maybe Oliver Anthony, because he just dropped a new song called Scornful Woman, I believe. Yes. Or talking about my beloved Oklahoma City Thunder, who literally a week ago, last Sunday, won their first NBA championship. Well, I decided let's do the latter. Let's watch the final minutes of Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals uncut, react to them, but also just talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, the playoffs this year, and how they became champions of the NBA. It's not something that I normally do. I usually do music reactions. That's kind of my bread and butter, but I've done political reactions, political commentary. I've done, vlogs. I've done actual podcasts where I'm talking to other people and doing like a sit-down interview conversation style format. And then I've done more creative videos where it's like B-roll footage and it's me talking about some poetry that I had wrote or something that I had put in my journal. So I like to try out everything. I like to do different things. I don't want to do just one thing. I enjoy doing music reactions, and I know that that's what I did last week. I got back to it last week with Sabrina Carpenter. But you know what? I'm still riding the high of an NBA championship for my favorite team. So that's what I want to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is different for me, but I'm very much passionate about sports still, and obviously basketball, and obviously my team. So let's watch this video that's put out on YouTube by the actual NBA channel on their YouTube channel. It's about 9 minutes and 23 seconds. So I don't know, maybe we'll get all the way through. Maybe I'll stop it at certain points, comment on some things, but definitely talk about it at the end.
And they are fighting to put this away. There's moments where it creeps in.
Demar gets inside, he's double teamed. Kicks it out to Siakam. Siakam the spin. Surrounded. Demar launches a long three. Got it! Demar from way downtown, and it's a 10-point game. 2:28 remaining. Humbert down the line.
That was big right there. They hit a three, answer with your own two-pointer. Try to cut off the momentum. But that's the thing about the Pacers, man. Like, they just don't go away. They're pests that you cannot exterminate very easily.
Others trying to get away, throws it to SGA. 2 minutes remaining. OKC close to a title.
At this point, when I'm watching it, I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, 10 points is still really close. Just end it. Just put them away, put them to bed, tuck them in.
Lesson number 3.
Oh, we already got an ad.
Don't throw your fit out there until you feel it in here.
There's just more.
Finals, he's fouled out. What a tough, hard-nosed defender. But he is done for the night. And the frustration from Neesmith.
Shea is going to face double teams. They're blitzing because they've got to make something happen.
Yeah, that's a foul.
Obviously, Neesmith, who has been prone to some foul trouble in this series and in this season this year.
Alexander, 27 points, 12 assists. He has put up playoff numbers.
Buckets. Money, bro.
He's had a season that very few players in NBA history have had. When you look at from start to finish, multi-time first team All-NBA, leading the league in scoring. He just had such an impressive season, and is 2 minutes away from a championship.
Well, that's all he wanted, not the individual accolades. He wanted most was to win it all. They are so close now. Nimar, Russo gets overly aggressive and picks up the foul. That's his third. And free throws Mark Bignell, the 40-year-old coach, in his 5th year, what a job he's done with the Thunder.
And again, Caruso, you got to be smart. I don't mind the defensive pressure because if you're OKC, you don't want to let down. You don't want something miraculous to happen. Keep the pressure on.
That was huge too. I mean, if you get free throws as Indiana, you got to hit all of your free throws down the stretch to even have a chance to win this game.
Check out here if you're OKC. This has been an adventure for them.
I like those kicks from Nemhard.
Knocks down the second.
Kick game is strong.
11-point game, 141 remaining. The Thunder just need to be
He had a
smart
pretty
to
good
finish
game,
this off.
15, 5, and 6.
Siakam crowns the MVP. Jalen Williams on the drive and a foul with 1:26 remaining. And the fans can sense it. They're ready to celebrate.
I think at this point, like watching the game, you're still not thinking that it's wrapped up, like it's in the bag, because Indiana in the playoffs this year had so many comebacks. Late in games, too.
Game 5.
Like, if any team could do it, it's going to be the Pacers.
Up for an adventure.
Always.
18 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. And there's the architect of it all, Sam Presti. He drafted Williams, number 12 out of Santa Clara. Initially, he was expected to be a late-round draft pick. Bounced into the lottery. What a find from Sam Presti.
Well, if his workouts looked anything like his game, I'm not surprised that he moved up those ranks. But there's also the character that he has drafted, the individuals that he has drafted. Everyone fits so seamlessly to their team.
1:25 remaining. A 13-point Thunder lead. Indiana hoping for a miracle. Dort reaches.
Turnover, baby. Turnover. Lou Dort. Put him in the Dort chamber.
For Indiana.
22-7 turnovers.
Call for a foul with 1:04 remaining.
All right, at this point, you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Pickup center. Thunder with 14 more steals. One of the great defenses in league history. In the second half, turned it up several notches.
Just hit your free throws. Money.
It was a close game at halftime.
That third quarter, man, that's where we pulled away. That's kind of the calling card for the Thunder, man. They always pull away in the third. It feels like in the playoffs, I feel like that happens so many times for them.
Misses. Shepard the rebound. 1 minute remaining in the NBA season. Mathurin leads in. Can't get it to fall. Chases the old rebound back to top it. Corner 3.
Stepped out.
But he stepped out.
Turnover.
You have to compliment this Indiana Pacers team. You can see the emotion already coming from their bench. Losing their hero. Losing their superstar.
It's a painful ending to what has been one of the most inspiring playoff runs the league has ever seen. They will fall 1 game short.
A history of
So many ads, bro.
65 gators, losing steam, losing sweat. The solution? A drink that hydrates better than water and change the game forever.
Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Tell me this. What is greatness made of? Is it in your drive?
The 3
That place would have erupted if he hit that three.
against Indiana.
Fucking Caruso.
It's on the opposite
Fucking
end
stud, man.
of the Thunder. So much expected all season long. One of the greatest regular seasons in NBA history. 68 wins.
I think this is where they pull the starters out and the bench comes in. Yep, there they are.
Dignal will empty his bench, and the ovations will begin for the starters. And also emptying his bench is Rick Carlisle. What a finals this has been. These two teams have played such beautiful team basketball, fighting tooth and nail for 7 games. Unfortunate for the Pacers to lose their star early here in Game 7. And the Thunder dominated in the second half. 18 for Holmgren. Mathurin, he'll keep fighting till the bitter end. 22 points for Mathurin.
Oh.
They force another turnover. Mathurin. And draws a foul. He will not quit with 19.5 remaining.
Still one of those things. It's like you got 20 seconds left, but it's the fucking Pacers, man.
All the practices, all the road trips, all the nights in a hotel. And it comes to this.
J-Dub. He's got the tears flowing, baby.
Both sides of this. I lost in 3 of these. But the one that you win makes all of the work, all of the time, all of the struggle, it makes it worth it. But boy, the emotion on both sides is very real.
In his 3rd year, Jalen Williams has turned into one of the truly special two-way players in the game. And you can see the emotions pouring out. They arrived here in 2008. And this city, this fan base, this community has embraced them from day one.
Get it across half court. It's over, baby.
Shot clock is off. They'll run it out. The Thunder have taken the NBA by storm. For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City. The storybook season is complete.
Crazy. Crazy, dude. So, yeah, let's talk about it. NBA Finals. Oklahoma City Thunder, Indiana Pacers. It went all 7 games. You had the first game of the series, which was in Oklahoma City, and you had Tyrese Halliburton take that game-winning shot, and the Pacers win by literally 1 point. I watched all the games outside of Game 4. That was the only game that I couldn't watch because I was busy that night. It's like Game 1, man, that was heartbreaking. That was so heartbreaking. But it was very reminiscent of round 2 when Oklahoma City played the Denver Nuggets and Aaron Gordon hit that 3 close to time expiring, and that put them up by 2 points, and they stole Game 1. Game 2 in Oklahoma City, that's the one that I went to. I went down there, got my Airbnb, went to the game, and the Thunder bounced back. I think it was like 123 to, they won by 16 points. So whatever that would be, it's like 123 to like 107. And that was a game where our bench players played very well. You had Alex Caruso, he had the second most points on the team that night with 20. And then Aaron Wiggins had like 18 points. He had 5 3-pointers. Like, he just fucking balled out, bro. And then Game 3 goes back to Indiana, and the Pacers win that one. It was like, I think they won by like 9 points or something like that. And then Game 4 was the one I couldn't watch because I was at a concert, and I was literally checking my phone the whole fucking time to look at the score. And we were down in the third quarter with like 2 minutes left, down by like 10 points. And then in the fourth quarter, we just went on a barrage and we held them to very minimal points, and we won like 111 to 104. And after that point, because I was really nervous going into Game 4, I'm like, obviously, if we don't win this game, we potentially lose the series because it's so hard to come back from down 3-1, because then you got to win 3 games in a row to get that series. So then game 5, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going back to Oklahoma City. They take care of business that night. That's the night where Jalen Williams had a phenomenal game. He put up like 40 points. And so you're like, okay, we've just won back-to-back games in this series. We go up 3-2. Now, granted, we have to go back to Indiana, but I feel very comfortable now about our chances. And my thought process was like, win game 6, don't even go to game 7. Like, don't even give them a chance to beat you on your home floor. Well, game 6 for us was probably the worst game in the entire series because they absolutely throttled us. We only scored like 91 points. I don't remember how much they scored. But I was like, wow, that fucking sucks. And then you're thinking, all right, game 7, you have the advantage. You're back on your home floor. Like, we play very well on our home floor. And up until that point in the playoffs, any time that we lost a game in the playoffs, we always won the next game. We never repeated like 2 losses back to back. So I'm like, with that fact alone, we have to win this game, right? But again, you're still unsure because Indiana has been that team this entire playoff run, not just in this series, the entire playoff run, the Eastern Conference playoffs, and then getting to the finals. They've been down in so many games, but they have been able to climb out of those holes and eventually win the game, whether it was a buzzer beater or like going to overtime against the Knicks. Like, that team is incredibly comfortable for playing from behind, whereas like most teams obviously play better when they have a lead. Like, it almost felt like the Pacers played better when they were coming from behind. But anyways, game 7, man, it was close. The Pacers were actually up 48-47 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, like I was saying earlier when I was watching the video, something about these playoffs, like, I watched every game but game 4 of the NBA Finals. And it seemed like in a lot of our playoff series, the third quarter was kind of like our signature point in the game where we took over, where we took the life away from the opposing team and basically just wrapped up the game. And, Indiana, to their credit, they don't have Tyrese Halliburton at that point, but you have TJ McConnell, who is a fucking spark plug. Spark plug. That little white Energizer bunny could not stop playing his ass off. And he got his team back in the game. I think in game 7, I think the lead maybe got trimmed down to like 2 points at some point. And then the Thunder were able to rally once again and win 103-91 or something like that. Yeah. So it's crazy, man. I mean, I have been a Thunder fan since 2011, 2012. That was the year that they first made the finals. They had Kevin Durant, they had Russell Westbrook, they had James Harden, they had Serge Ibaka, they had Kendrick Perkins. I just remember, so I would have been like 8th grade or like freshman year. I believe it was freshman year of high school. And I liked basketball. I had kind of, been a LeBron James fan. I was a little bit of a Phoenix Suns fan because my dad rooted for them when he lived down in Arizona, and that's where I was born. And at the time they had like Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire. So I kind of like briefly rooted for LeBron and then the Phoenix Suns, but I had never really like picked a team in the NBA. And I just remember in like 2011, 2012, like I'm turning on the TV to watch the NBA playoffs, and you're looking at this environment in Oklahoma City, and this team just had this energy and this young nucleus that was fucking exploding with potential. And ultimately, as every, basketball fan knows, they go to the finals that year against the Miami Heat. That's when the Miami Heat was a juggernaut. They had LeBron James, they had Dwayne Wade, they had Chris Bosh, they had formed that big 3. I mean, it was televised. When LeBron James made his decision, he said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. And then all the Cleveland fans were pissed off and they burned his jerseys and whatnot, because at that point, he hadn't brought a title to Cleveland until, later on in his career when he came back to Cleveland and finally got a title. And yeah, man, that's where I became hooked. That's where I became a fan. And so I've seen a lot of things since 2011, 2012. I witnessed the Thunder, basically having the Western Conference Finals wrapped up in 2016 when they were up 3-1 on the Warriors, and they let the Warriors creep back into that series, go on to the NBA Finals. It could have been the Thunder and the Cavs in that finals, and it just didn't happen. It didn't pan out. And then that summer, that's when Kevin Durant, like the snake that he is, he said, I'm going to Golden State. He pulled a LeBron, but even worse than LeBron. Because I don't believe LeBron joined the team that he couldn't beat. But that's what Kevin Durant did. He joined the team that beat them in the year before in the playoffs. So I witnessed that. I witnessed Russell Westbrook pretty much be the only one that was standing, that was left standing, because even before Kevin left, we traded James Harden, and then I witnessed us getting Paul George, getting Carmelo Anthony, and you're thinking, okay, like we have a big three once again, still have Russell Westbrook, the guy that never left, he's running the helm, like we have a chance to do damage once again, get to the NBA Finals, and that didn't pan out in that experience. Like, we had a good team, but we had letdowns in the first round of the playoffs. I don't think that team ever won a series in the playoffs. So that was super disappointing. But, having Paul George, he was like, Kevin Durant started out as my favorite player. Then it went to Russell Westbrook. Then it kind of went to Paul George. And then we traded Paul George away, and we have to credit this man for coming to Oklahoma City, even though we traded for him from the Pacers to begin with. So it's not like he decided to come there, although he did sign a contract with us, an extension. But we have to thank that man, because he gets traded away to the Clippers, and we get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And so then at that point, you got Chris Paul on the team, who's acting as a mentor to a young SGA. And from that moment on, the team just kept building, just kept rebuilding, using that Paul George trade to kind of build a foundation in Shai, but then with all of the treasure trove of picks that we got from that deal, from the Russell Westbrook deal, starting to build in the draft, getting people like Jalen Williams, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren, Aaron Wiggins, these really good like role pieces, Josh Giddey at the time, and then just the evolution of the Thunder, 2023, 2024, they win that first series. They went up 4-0 against the Pelicans, and then in the next round, they went to 6 games against the Dallas Mavericks, which ultimately Dallas went to the finals and lost to Boston. And so it's like we were there, we had arrived, but we still had to make some roster moves. We still had to clean up our roster. And then last year in the offseason, 2 of the biggest transactions for this team is signing Isaiah Hartenstein, like finally getting us some more size, like getting a true center, and then trading for Alex Caruso. I believe those 2 pieces alone is what sent us over the hump to actually win the title. Because if you look at Caruso, defensive-minded player, but he can also score in spurts if he needs to. He's just a gritty player. He does everything for a fucking team. A really good role player. Every team in the league needs a guy like that. And he became the oldest guy on the team at like 31, 32. He's like the veteran. He's like the uncle for this young group, these young guys. And, they were able to use that trade to their benefit and have 68 wins in the regular season. They were literally the best team in basketball throughout the entire year, and then just keep going in the playoffs. Like, if I'll be honest, I was nervous in that Denver series going to 7 games. I wasn't sure that they were going to get out of it, but they did, and they did it in a stomping fashion in Game 7. I was surprised that the Western Conference Finals with the Timberwolves only went 5 games. Minnesota was only able to win 1 game of the series. And then I'll be honest too, I think the most doubt that I ever had, the most fear that I ever had was against the Pacers in this most recent series, because I'm like, yeah, they weren't the best team in the league. They weren't even the best team in the Eastern Conference, but they they have such a belief in themselves to get it done even when the game is not going in their favor. They are just like the cardiac kids that won't go away. It's the fucking pests in your house that you can't get rid of, you can't kill. And so I had immense doubt in that series when they won game 1, when they won game 3, and when they won game 6. I'm like, dude, are we going to win this series or are we going to lose to the Pacers? They've been underdogs the entire playoffs and they've exceeded all expectations. I think they were only favorites in their first series against the Bucks, you know, being the 4 seed going up against the 5 seed. And, you know, I know what a lot of people are going to say. They're going to say, oh, well, Tyrese Halliburton, he got hurt in game 7. He was cooking, bro. He was 3 of 4 from 3 and he had 9 points. I know. I watched the game. I was paying attention. I understand that point of view. I understand that argument. I don't think that guarantees that the Pacers beat the Thunder in game 7, because when he goes out, or when he hits his last 3, I think they're up like 14-10. And then maybe we had a slight lead when he got hurt. I think maybe we were up by like a point or like 2 points. So it was a close game, even though he was cooking. He was the best player on the floor for the Pacers at that point in time. But I hate when people say that, almost like it takes away what the Thunder did. And now people are trying to say, oh, it doesn't count because he was hurt, he wasn't on the floor. The Pacers were still playing their asses off, and at halftime, the Pacers were up by 1 point. So I don't believe that. And if that is the case, that, oh, if he's on the floor, they win game 7, then please explain to me. The previous 6 games in the series, Tyrese played all of those games, and we won 3 out of those 6. Obviously, that's what set us up for a game 7. So are you so certain that if he was on the floor, it's a guarantee that the Pacers are going to win? We won 3 games in the series where he was playing. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that fucking narrative. And I feel bad for the guy. I mean, the guy played at Iowa State. He played at the state that I live in, Iowa. Like, I am rooting for the guy. But because he went up against my team, I fucking hated him. Because he was that good. He was hitting, you know, those last second shots. It was hard to contain him. And, you know, as a basketball fan, you know, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't care if it's like a Luka Doncic, right? Like, that's a guy that I hate too because of what he did to us last year in the playoffs. I don't care for LeBron. I don't care for Kevin Durant. I don't care for Dylan Brooks. But, like, I don't want to see these guys get hurt, especially an Achilles injury, which is devastating and is really hard to come back from. And I don't want to see it in game 7 of the NBA Finals. I really wish that Tyrese was out there for the entirety of the game and that we still win that game to put that narrative to rest. Tyrese is a phenomenal player. And I guess at this point, we just don't know. If he plays the rest of the game, we don't know. You literally cannot say definitively, because he could have played the game and they could have still lost. What if he was the best player on the floor, but nobody else was scoring, and that's what allowed the Thunder to win? You don't know. I hate when people say that. Like, they can forecast the future. It's like, you don't fucking know. You just don't. I wish he played the whole game so we could put that narrative to bed, you know. And as I'm rooting for my team, I want them to go up against the stiffest competition and still win, because then you're even more proud for your team. But that's just what happened, man. Those were the cards that Tyrese was dealt. If you go back and you watch some of his interviews and his press conferences in earlier games in the series, I can't remember the game where he got hurt, where he got the initial calf strain. I think he's been dealing with it like throughout the year. I don't know if it was like just in the playoffs, but there was one moment in the playoffs. Hold on, I gotta let my cat in. There was one moment in the playoffs earlier in the series where he falls down, and that's where he agitates his calf. And if you watch these interviews of him, the press conferences before game 7, he was asked, you know, what is the risk of trying to play through a calf strain? And he said, to be honest, I could legitimately rupture my Achilles. That's what I'm going up against. I know the risk, but it's the NBA Finals. It's game 7. I have to show up for my team. I will feel like shit if I don't do it. This is what I have worked my entire life towards getting to. And so he knew the risk. If you guys go back to 2019 in the finals, you have Kevin Durant on the Warriors going up against the Toronto Raptors. He's playing through a calf strain, and I can't remember what game it is, but because he was trying to play through that injury, he popped his Achilles. Like, this has happened before. So that's another thing for those people to consider that come up with that narrative. It's like, yeah, it's so fucking unfortunate, but you can almost kind of forecast it that it could, the likelihood of that injury happening starts to increase more and more and more. Every game that he goes out there, every minute that he logs, it can happen. And unfortunately, it happened in the biggest game of his life, and it happened early. But nonetheless, man, I don't think it takes anything away from what the Thunder accomplished. And I think they are in such a good position to become a dynasty. I don't want to talk that far ahead. I honestly think like there's still areas on their roster that they can improve. And I just watched the draft earlier this week, and we had 2 picks. We got one dude, a tall forward or center, I believe, from Georgetown, Thomas Sorber. And then we got a guard from Northwestern. And I already think the guy from Georgetown can make the 15-man roster and provide an immediate impact. And then obviously we went after some undrafted free agents. So they'll probably, go to the G League and work their way up. And maybe one of those guys will join the roster. I don't know if we'll sign anybody in free agency. Maybe we'll drop some guys that were on the bench that didn't really get playing time. I still think there are ways to improve this roster, and that's the scary thing, because we just won a title, and we still have this young core that's just going to get better and better and better. And I really think they have a chance to become a dynasty and win multiple titles. And I want that to happen and carry on for as long as possible, because me being such a sports fan, I've seen my Cubbies win a World Series back in 2016, 108 years to finally get one. I've seen now Oklahoma City Thunder win an NBA title. The only team of the major sports of my favorite teams that I haven't seen get a title is the Miami Dolphins. And that's going to be the hardest one, because they have been the hardest team to watch out of all of the 3 that I just mentioned. But guys, that's all I have to say. I'm so excited that we won a title, but it's also equally depressing because now the NBA season is over. I can't wait for next season. It'll start, late October. I just want us to run it back. I want us to go out there and dominate once again and win back-to-back championships. Out of the last 7 years in the NBA, seven different teams have won an NBA championship from year to year. So there hasn't been a repeat champion in a long time. And if we're finally going to get one, I think it should be the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, guys, that's the video. That's the reaction. A little bit of a different spin. I hope you enjoyed it. My enthusiasm, my ambition for this team. I love this team, bro. While watching that at the end when they're starting to celebrate, I teared up a little bit, started to cry. When I was watching it in real time, I was brought to tears. Same thing happened with the Cubs, man. It's just like, this is the beautiful thing about sports. You ask people, why are you getting so emotional? You're not even part of the team. Well, watching sports, being a lifelong sports fan, picking your favorite team, sticking with them through the ups and the downs over the years, when they finally have that success, when they finally get to an NBA Finals, not only get there, but actually win, or like the Cubbies winning a World Series, it hits you to your core, man. You feel like you're part of the team, and especially Oklahoma City is a very small market in the NBA. Going down there for Game 2 of the Finals, I realized pretty quickly, the crowd, the arena, the people, they pour into their team. They invest into their team, man. They are part of that fucking team. It's almost like, going out to Seattle to watch the Seahawks play, and they say oh, They have this unfair advantage at home because they're so loud. They call the crowd like the 12th man. I mean, that's kind of how it is in basketball. The crowd is like the 6th man. You got the 5 players on the floor, you got the bench, but the crowd is basically like the 6th man. And who knows, maybe that's why we give credit to Oklahoma City for actually winning the NBA title, because they had home court advantage. If it went to 7, that meant that they were going to have 4 games on their home floor as opposed to Indiana having 3 on their home floor. And I think that may have given us the advantage, like especially in Game 5 and Game 7, man. I think our crowd, best crowd in the NBA, best fans in the NBA, propelled us to victory, man. Because when that energy is in the stadium, it's like palpable. Like you can feel it. Like when I was there, I could literally feel the energy. This sounds corny, I don't fucking care. It was like surging through your veins. It was like a pulse inside your body. And every time a player on our team hit a 3-pointer or had like a big, like thunderous dunk, I swear to God, even though I was in the nosebleeds, it felt like everybody was on their feet and everybody was clapping. And it was that way all throughout the game. And that was Game 2. I can't imagine what Game 7 was like, because that's the game where everything is literally on the line. Like when I was watching it on TV, it felt like nobody was sitting down for the entirety of the game. So yeah, man, this is why we watch sports. This is why we love sports. We get involved with sports. Like it's a spectacle to be a part of. And I ordered 3 things off of the NBA store. So it's like a championship t-shirt, a championship hat, and then I decided to buy an Alex Caruso jersey. Like, he's not my favorite player on the team. I would say Shai Gilgeous is probably my favorite. But I'm a white, bald-headed man, so I look a lot like Caruso. And I just think he's not the entire reason that we won in the playoffs and won the championship, but he's a big reason why we did. And I was like, trying to think. I was like, I want to get a jersey if they win the finals, but which one would I get? Because believe it or not, the only Thunder jersey I have is an all-star jersey from like 2017, 2018. So it's all white, has black lettering around the letters, the logo, the number, the name on the back, and it's for Paul George. So that one is obviously outdated. I'm not going to get rid of it, even though he doesn't play for us anymore. It's like, I spent the money. I'm not burning that shit. But I was like, I need a new jersey. Which one am I going to get? And I said, dude, I got to get Caruso, man. I got to represent. Probably down the line, I'll get a Shea one. Probably down the line, I'll get J-Dub. You know, those are some of my favorite players. But yeah, man, I'm waiting for those to come in, man. And I'm going to rock that shit out in public. And I'm going to be so happy about it. And because I'm, you know, fucking white boy, for Halloween, I'm probably going to dress up as Caruso now that I have his jersey. I just got to get shorts. I got to get like the tights. I got to get the headband, basketball sneakers, and just run out there and pretend I'm Alex Caruso. But all jokes aside, thank you guys for coming over here and watching the video. 4 things that I ask that you do if you came over here. You don't have to do all 4 things, but please do one of the 4 things, especially if I provided value. Entertainment, if you enjoyed it, if you thought it was fun, if you just had a good time, if it wasn't a waste of your time. You know, I put in so much work to get these things out there, to give my most honest, authentic viewpoints on these subjects. All that I ask is that you either like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment section below, or share the content, you know, whether it's via person, like word of mouth, or if you do it over social media. I don't care. Just help me grow the channel. That's the equal exchange that we have here. You guys get to enjoy the content. And for that, please just help me grow the channel. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next week on the podcast, whatever video it happens to be. I never know what the content's going to be. It's just in the moment, I kind of decide. I guess sometimes earlier in the week, I kind of think about it a little bit more. I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to do that. But usually it's kind of like a split decision at the end. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you.